Jane, you want to pull him up?
Put me up, wake me up.
Yeah, that's Mr. Joel. Just tap it twice. It's okay, Jane lost my mouse. It's okay, we're gonna find my mouse there.
Okay.
It's there. And this is Mr. Joel Petrus, as I'm sure you guys know, very well-loved, 40-year family business. He is the provider of my feed, of most of our feed. Mr. Joel helped me 10 years ago when I said I wanted to raise rabbits and I needed food. So, Mr. Joel, take it away.
Well, thank you once again. It's an honor to be amongst a bunch of judges. Believe me, I feel like y'all are up here and I'm way down here. So, as an old feed man, I guess we all sometimes get that feeling that we're kind of bottom of the barrel. But thank you for having me here tonight, and it's an honor to be among a bunch of judges. And as the sheet said, I was going to talk about something else, but I changed my mind. I want to talk about some feed manufacturing processes that we go through to produce a bag of feed. And it's just not throwing a bunch of things together and blam, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to try to talk about some of the things we go through. And I know as judges, most probably at every show, every judge gets to ask, what do you feed? What should I feed? My rabbit looks terrible. What do I do? Okay, so this is some of the things we have to go through to try to make a decent product that y'all can feed. So we're going to start out. See, first thing we have to figure out what species we want to feed. We make horse, cattle, rabbit. We make everything from earthworm feed to elephant feed. So we have to know find out a lot of different things about what to make. Finding these specific requirements. Each animal has so many special requirements. Rabbits, one of the most particulars. You take like we make a flamingo feed. So why do you keep the flamingo pink? Okay, there's several things we have to do to keep flamingos in captivity pink. So we have to search and find out what all these ingredients are. So that's different things. And I guess really, if you think about nutrition, a horse and a rabbit are about the two closest that they are. They're both monogastric. The only difference is because we know what happens with a rabbit at night. Right? Right? What happens with a rabbit at night?
It has a secatroph.
Yeah, right. But a horse doesn't. So everything, their digestive system is pretty much the same. So we have to find all the requirements, what each animal needs to do to make them grow up properly. Okay? Next thing, we need to find out what ingredients are needed. Okay? There's a list of a million things to do: corn, oats, vitamins, minerals, byproducts, and trace minerals. It's all that kind of stuff. Then a lot of mills use a least cost formulation deal where they'll substitute ingredients from one week to the next to make a feed. It's not good for rabbits. You don't want to do that. Other horses or cows make them do that, but you don't want to do that with rabbits, not at all. So we don't prescribe to this method at all. We don't like to use that at all. Okay? All right. Now, after you find out what ingredients you need, you got to try to find out where to get them, what you want to buy. Okay? One of the main things that we see, especially with rabbit feed, is getting a reliable source of ingredients. You want good quality ingredients. You can buy ingredients from all over the place, but you want to get reliable people that have consistent products all year round. Okay? Then we have to find out, when we find these sources, if you can get local or regional supplies, you're a whole lot better. If you're having to haul stuff 1,000 miles to get it here, it's going to cost you a whole lot more to get it. So, and then I guess one of the main things we have to deal with is you want good quality alfalfa, which has to come out of the Midwest. So we have a lot more freight involved with alfalfa. And then we try to, certain times of the year, buy stuff for 3 or 4 months ahead of time. Usually with alfalfa for rabbit feed, we will buy that for 6 or 8 months ahead to get a good consistent price and a good product. Okay? Now, once you get all these things bought, we have to process all these ingredients. And there involves cracking, crimping, or rolling. And there's two processes. You can either add steam to the grain to process it And it's a lot cleaner product when you do that, you have less dust, or you can just dry crimp or dry crack, whatever. Okay, then we have to grind all ingredients that are gonna be pelletized. You have to grind it. All your alfalfa has to be ground. You grind your oats, everything else. It has to be real fine to be able to pelletize it, excuse me. All right, then another process would be either cleaning or scalping. Usually with corn or oats, those kind of ingredients, you have to really clean them to get them really, really nice. And if you're feeding some oats to your rabbits, for instance, you want those to be nice and clean. So you have to clean all the fine particles out as far as the larger particles. Okay, once we get all these different ingredients, we have to be able to mix it up. Just like if you were making a cake, you got to put them in a blender. You have to mix all those ingredients up. You want it to be really uniform. There's several types of mixers. The most important, the main mixer types that are used today are the horizontal mixers. They do a lot better job of mixing than, say, your vertical mixer does. Sometimes in vertical mixers you get some separation of ingredients. There's another method called a line mixing, which that's usually only 2 or 3 different ingredients. So you're continuously blending these the whole time. You're not having to, but that limits the amount of premixes or vitamins you can add that you're adding small amounts of. You typically want to use those in a horizontal mixture. With rabbit feed in particular, you have a lot of trace minerals and vitamins that you have to add all along the mixing cycle. All right? All right, once we get everything mixed and everything, then we have to mill it, okay? And I'm sure some people may use some what we call a textured feed, which is generally a molasses type feed. It's usually for cows and horses, but some people do feed as a treat for the rabbits. They may give them a sweet feed, okay? Then generally your pellets, that's going to be the most popular. Pellets are easier to handle. They're easier to clean, but they're a little more costly than doing a textured feed because you have to, once you pelletize them, you have to cool them down. And if you've ever open a sack of feed and you put your hand down the middle of it and you have mold in the middle, that's improper cooling of pellets. If you have it on the outside, well, it got wet somewhere. If you stick your hand in the middle of a bag of feed and you have mold in there, it wasn't cooled properly. Then we have extruded products. You don't see that very much in rabbit feed. That's typically in high protein, high fat type feeds that they use for either floating fish food, or there's some, most all your pet foods don't go through an extruder. They're actually high pressure, high temperature type deal that actually explodes these things. They use different kind of dyes for that, just as well as they do for pellets. We have small pellets for rabbits and have range cubes, which are the size of your finger, just different sizes. So sometimes if you see a cube in your feed, that's just something got hung up in a bin or something. That's what the different sizes are. One of the disadvantages of let's back up one time, Jane. Okay. Sometimes when you're doing a textured feed, you're making a molasses feed, you have more chances of some contamination there because it's so sticky, it sticks to everything, and you can't get some chunks fall off and get into something else. And so textured feeds can be a little more trouble sometimes as opposed to a pellet. Okay, Jane? Okay, once you get the feed made, you got to get in the bag. And we have different bagging lines. You have, we call them a dry line, which is usually pellets or your grain. Then your molasses feed, which have a wet line. You usually try not to have 2 bagging lines, one for wet feed, one for dry feed. And then you have your typical bag is a sewn open mouth bag. Then you have what they call a valve pack bag, which is kind of more for real bulky type stuff, something like maybe your shavings or that kind of stuff. Cottonseed hulls that can be blown, real bulky type stuff. Some seed, like ryegrass seed, comes in a valve pack bag. Okay. Then your heat seal bags are usually your fertilizers, and some animal feed comes in a heat seal bag, but most of that would be something that's high that doesn't want to sweat. Okay. All right. Now, as it comes up with everything is included in the price of a bag of feed, they have what's called tonnage fees. Every state has tonnage fees. You have to pay a certain amount, and Louisiana is the highest in the nation. I'll have you know. We pay $1 a ton every ton of feed we make, okay? And Texas is like 17% right across the creek. They pay a whole lot less. So, but if you ship feed out of state, you have to pay a tonnage tax to every state, and that's supposedly to take care of the inspections and everything else. That's just another expense that we have to put up with in manufacturing feed. All right. Now, you can make the best feed you can. You can raise the best rabbit you can. But if you can't sell it, you're not doing any good. So we have to, as a small mill like ourselves, we depend on our customers to sell our feed for us. If somebody's winning a lot of rabbit shows and they feeding our feed, hey, that's what you got to do. But that's you have to be able to sell it. You really have to be able to sell whatever you make. Very, very necessary thing. And if you're having sales, then that is included in the price of a bag of feed. All right? And we always, this is the end. But I do have one little thing to say about one little, not necessarily a joke, but there's a little town just south of here called Marksville. I mean, some of y'all may be very familiar with Marksville, kind of a French community. And there was this little old gentleman there. He raised a garden. And he had the most beautiful mule you've ever seen. About this tall. He had the most beautiful garden. And every day he was out plowing his garden. And there was this fellow moved in from out of town. And he saw that old man with that garden. He said, you know, I got to have that mule. So stopped and asked the man one day, he said, sir, I'd love to buy this mule from you. He said, nope, can't do it. So every day he passed. About every 3 days he'd stop and ask the gentleman, can I please buy your mule? He said, no. So about the 5th time he came by, he said, look, he said, I'll give you $500 for that mule. So I'm going to tell you, I'll sell it to you, but it just don't look too good. The man said, I don't care, I want that mule. So he bought the mule. About 3 days later, the man came back to bought the mule. He said, look, he said, that mule is blind. He said, man, look, I told you, he said, it didn't look too good. So the moral to this story is just because somebody doesn't look too good doesn't mean they can't see. Okay.
Mr. Joel, thank you so
Thank
much.
y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. All right, and so last but not least, I'm very